Hey, huge shout out to the Nerdy Gang. If you guys want to get featured in the next video, all you guys have to do is like this video, subscribe, post notifications on, and leave a nice comment with your gamer tag. I'm gonna give you guys the top 5 loadouts in Warzone right now. They're all meta, and I'm sure you guys are gonna absolutely love them. But we're gonna start out with my personal favorite, which is the RA225, which is officially the close range meta. So we're gonna start out with the recoil booster for the increased fire rate and slight reduction of recoil control. You put on the Urban Rapid 11-inch for the fire rate, slight reduction of sprint to fire speed, horizontal recoil control, and recoil recovery. No big deal. We're gonna throw on the slate reflector for the 1.35 magnification. Now if you don't want to use that, you can use the niter. If you don't want to use that, I mean, you can just use a large iron sights or something, whatever your preference is. This increases aim down sight speed, so that'd be cool. Urban tack for aim walking movement speed, initial fire recoil, aim walking steadiness, and idle sway control. You get a reduction of sprint to fire speed and hip fire accuracy. Not a big deal. You'll still be able to hit fire like crazy. Throw on steady for ADS firing move speed. If you don't want to use that, you can use sleight of hand or tight grip, but I have another class for you guys anyway. We're going to put on quick for sprint speed. We're going to put on tape grip for aiming stability, movement speed, weapon swap quickness, and sprint to fire speed. Throw on the 9mm 55 round drums for the magazine ammo capacity. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed, reload quickness, and movement speed. Throw on lengthen for the bullet velocity, and SG98 compact for the aim walking movement speed and reduce scope swing and gun bob. If you guys want a somewhat better meta build, we're going to change this a little bit. Now granted, this will probably only be good for solos or just killing 1 or 2 people, but we're going to put on the 7.62 Gorenko 38 round mags for the recoil control, fire rate, movement speed, and aim down sight speed. You get a reduction of bullet velocity, bullet penetration, and damage range. That's okay. You're going to put on lengthen. Now after that, this is where it gets a little interesting. You can keep the urban tack on. It'll be completely up to you. You don't really have to change it, but if you think the recoil is hard to control or you want better movement, you can throw on the Valenta LDB for the increased movement speed and recoil recovery. You get a reduction of hip fire accuracy, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed, but trust me, that's not a big deal considering the movement speed increase you're going to get. Now you can keep on steady, and this is going to be an absolutely insane strafing build, but if you want to top it off even more, throw on the grooved grip for aim walking movement speed, horizontal recoil control, ADS firing move speed, aiming stability. You get a reduction of sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. This is going to be the fastest, and I mean absolute fastest RA225 class, but with the best TTK. Next, we're moving on to Nikita, and you guys know I officially love this gun. This is the meta AR. We're going to throw on the MX silencer for sound suppression, horizontal recoil control, vertical recoil control, and damage range. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. No big deal. You're going to put on the Empress 613mm BFA for recoil control, damage range, and bullet velocity. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed, and aim walking movement speed. We're also going to use the SVT40 PU scope. If you don't have that, you can just use the G16 and you'll be completely fine. It's just slightly less magnification. Throw on the ZAC MS for horizontal recoil control, aiming stability. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed, movement speed, hip fire accuracy, and sprint to fire speed. But trust me, this AR, you don't even need any of that. Throw on brace for the initial firing recoil. Throw on hand for aim down sight speed increase. Throw on hatched grip for the recoil control and flinch resistance. Throw on the 7.62 50 round mags because this actually does more damage than the Sakura 60 round drum, and with the 60 round drum you're just getting a damage decrease and bullet velocity decrease, so there's no point in really having that. Throw on lengthen for the bullet velocity, and throw on bipod for recoil control when mounted, crouched, or prone. Trust me, this is absolutely essential. This will give you basically no recoil, especially when you're prone. This thing is not moving at all. Next, we're moving on to the H4 Blixen. This is still my baby, and I gotta give you guys the best setup. We're gonna use the recoil booster for the increased fire rate, slight reduction of accuracy. Throw on the Janssen 9-inch RMK for the damage range, and bullet velocity. This is the only barrel that's not actually nerfed right now. You get a reduction of recoil control and accuracy, hip fire accuracy, and headshot damage. No big deal. We'll take care of that later. We'll put on the slate reflector. If you don't want to use that, you can use niter. If you don't want to use that, then you can use the Magna CZA for the increased aim down sight speed, and you're just going to use the iron sight. Then remove stock for movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed. You get a reduction of flinch resistance, recoil control, accuracy, and aim walking steadiness. Completely fine. Like I said before, throw on fleet for the movement speed and weapon swap quickness, quick for sprint speed, grooved grip for aim walking movement speed, horizontal recoil control, ADS firing move speed, and aiming stability. You get a reduction of sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. No big deal. Throw on the 7.62 Gorenko 54 round mags for recoil control and accuracy, increased torso damage. You get a reduction of movement speed, bullet penetration, bullet velocity and range, and aim down sight speed. This is not a big deal. This SMG is absolutely insane. It's the strongest SMG in the game right now. Throw on lengthen for bullet velocity and SG98 compact for aim walking movement speed, reduce scope sway and gun bob. If you can't control the recoil, you can throw on the M1941 hand stop or the Carver foregrip, but you do miss out on some of the benefits from the aim walking movement speed, which I think is absolutely essential. Now we're going to throw on the Grau because I know people have absolutely been loving it, and some of you guys just don't have a good class for it. So we're going to start out with the monolithic suppressor for the sound suppression and damage range. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and aim walking steadiness. Now for the barrel, this is going to be really interesting. You can use the Archangel or you can use the Nexus. Now I'm going to show you the difference. The Archangel increases damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now if you put that on, you see that the FSS 20.8 Nexus has the same thing, but it's slightly less accurate, has slightly less range, but you have more mobility. So this is completely up to you what you choose to use. And like I said before, I'm going to give you guys two setups for this. So we're going to give you guys right now the no recoil setup, which is going to be pretty much long range and all that. So what you would end up using is the VLK 3x optic. For the magazine, you can just use 50, and that's 4 attachments right there. I don't really think that you would need a stock, especially not for this build. What you would end up using is probably either Commando foregrip, Merc foregrip, Ranger foregrip, or Operator foregrip. All up to you, whatever you choose to use. Now if it were up to me, I would most likely either go with the Ranger foregrip or the Operator foregrip. If we throw on the Ranger foregrip, you see that the Operator foregrip actually gives you slightly, and I mean just like slightly less range and slightly less control, where this is, I mean, this gives you everything that you absolutely need. So I think that this is absolutely the best option, Ranger foregrip, but it's completely up to you, whatever you choose to use. Now we're going to change something up real quick. If you choose not to use the VOK, if you just want to use the iron sight, right, you have another opportunity to actually stack onto it. So if you want to have some more recoil control, you can throw that on there. It'll literally be a laser. But if you don't want to use that, you can throw on, I don't know, maybe the FSS Blackjack for more aiming stability. If you want to throw on the 5 MW laser for sprint to fire speed, that's completely fine too, but I don't really see a reason to use that, and more so be like tac laser. Now I'm going to give you guys an even better build if you were going to use this as an SMG. Now if you're going to use this as an SMG, throw on the FSS 20.8 Nexus, and then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to throw on no stock. You're going to use that for the movement speed and aim down sight speed. You're going to get a slight reduction of recoil control and aiming stability. It's going to be an incredible SMG build, and you're going to absolutely melt people. Last but not least, we're going to use the Automaton because I know you guys absolutely love this in this new season. We're going to use it for the MX silencer, for the sound suppression, horizontal recoil control, vertical recoil control, and damage range. You get a decrease of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. No big deal. You're going to throw on the Anastasia sniper for the bullet velocity and range, plus accuracy increase. You get a reduction of hip fire accuracy and aim down sight speed, but look at all the green you get. All that damage and all that increased range is absolutely essential. Throw on the SVC 40p scope. If you don't have that, it's completely fine. Like I said before, all you need to throw is throw on the G16. You'll have just as much of an effect. Throw on the Anastasia padded for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, plus flinch resistance. You get a reduction of initial firing recoil and aiming stability, but none of these are really a better option. I mean, you can throw on the Empress broadsword, but I just don't really think that's ideal. You can just keep this on there and you'll have a much better engagement and plus a better experience. Now throw on tight grip for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, so it already compensates for that issue. Throw on hand for the increased aim down sight speed. Hatched grip for the recoil control plus flinch resistance with no cons whatsoever. Throw on the 6.5 Sakura 75 round drum just because this is the best option. The Clauser, I mean, it increases the bullet velocity and range and damage, but the thing is it decreases the fire rate and recoil control, which is one of the essential things about this class setup. And then, I mean, the 30 increases fire rate, but you lose bullet velocity and range and damage, so it's just not ideal. This is the best option. Throw on lengthen for bullet velocity and Carver foregrip for the vertical recoil control and hip fire accuracy. You're not really gonna be hip firing this, but hey, you may get a hip fire kill, who knows. Get a reduction of aim down sight speed.